Okay, we ready?
So this is the Board of Health meeting for February 25th. So far we have, oh, good thing.
You made it.
Janet's not here today,
I know.
and
Well, she's on
Lisa's
vacation.
coming, but
She
we're...
told me she was on vacation. I got to keep the place up.
Okay, so we're just gonna take care of some paperwork here. I don't know what this, I can't find our sign.
You look very relaxed. I can't imagine why.
Please
I
take a
was.
motion, a vote whether to
Which
approve
sunny place did
funding.
you go to?
Then it will go to Board of Selectmen for approval.
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
Okay.
Here's some permits to sign. Oh, it's only one. Gee.
Yeah, not too bad. Where's my pen? Right here, okay. I am ready.
What's new? Lots of stuff. Lots of stuff.
How was vacation? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Here's a portable toilet.
Sorry, I'm late.
Oh, very nice.
Hey, Lisa.
Hi.
Oh, wait.
Thank you.
We can jam up the process even more.
I'm sorry?
We should jam up, get it back to you.
Today is the 25th, right?
Yep.
Today is the 25th. According to my watch.
Okay, then we have this folder.
Minute out.
Yeah. So this,
You'd think. Here it is.
Somewhere in there.
There is somewhere.
Thank you. That was one of the
It's
ones that we
basically-
met with last time. Is that- Okay. What is this?
the tobacco regulations. This, oh, I'll wait till you guys sign that, and we'll talk about this.
That's good.
Yeah.
Who is this from? Is this from that woman? No.
Joan?
Negative birth outcomes.
She must not have found the original that we signed, or she could have, I don't know. See her note there?
I am not.
I don't know. Who's the clerk?
Am I good?
Okay, you guys ready? So this first thing I want to talk about is this mosquito control project, besides our agenda. There's some stuff in this folder that Janet left for us. So this mosquito control project, it says, take a motion to, or vote whether to approve funding, then it will go to the Board of Selectmen for approval. So the budget amount,
You do that every year anyway.
yeah, is $2,642.19.
I've never seen this.
What was it last year?
I don't remember seeing it before.
I don't remember seeing it either.
How much, so it's a
What is that, for the whole
$2,000?
time? For the whole
And
town?
do they specify what they're going to be spraying with?
Chart found, yeah, there's more pages. The chart found below highlights the preliminary budget request by the project for the coming year with pertinent budget information. Preliminary,
It's $2,677 for total estimated funding available in trust account.
yeah.
They do that every year, so.
Okay. So here's all the towns that do it and the percent and their budget, percent of their budget that it costs. So Littleton is 55,000.
They treat everything, does it say? Every
I
street?
think it's just mosquitoes.
But every street, or just like the lake areas, or?
Yeah, I don't know that.
I think anytime you get a suspicion of one of the vector carriers, like for West Nile and encephalitis, they,
I think it's a good thing that we
oh,
should-
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's-
If anybody wants to.
So the budget last year was 2.5% increase. Seems pretty reasonable.
Meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're right in the middle of all the other percentage of the total budgets for the towns surrounding.
Is this asking the Board of Selectmen to,
We approve it and then it goes to the Board of Selectmen, it sounds like. We vote.
And she wants us to make a motion or vote to accept it.
For a
okay, so
2.5%
so this is really, we are proposing to the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
So this is not, if someone comes and says, this is not enough or too much, that's it. So what we're approving here, I just want to understand, what we're approving here is a submission of a budget of this amount to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
That doesn't mean it's going to necessarily go through. Okay. Fine.
I've never seen it before.
I'll make a
Is it-
motion, I'll make a motion to approve the 2.5% budget increase regarding this.
For mosquito control.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 For the mosquito control, Central Mass Mosquito Control Project.
Littleton's contribution to, or that was their,
All right. So, let's vote on the
A minute.
last week's minutes, last meeting's minutes dated January 28th. Does
Well,
anyone have
I
any
think
issue or?
Well, last one was Feb 4.
Oh, she's got them both in here. Did we vote on
Yeah.
January 28th?
I guess not.
All right, let's vote on the 28th. Does anybody want to take a look at that first? and see
It's a
questions?
correction right here. It was moved by Baker, second by Gill.
What
Voted
line?
by,
Is that the 28th?
yeah, and this is for the 20, and it says 22 here, because it's 22 here. So they forgot to put 22, they put only 20. It's the only correction is right
No, I think 22 is the abutter,
there. Right.
but the question is
Oh,
20
yeah,
Fletcher.
yeah, she's right, because it's 20 Fletcher Lane up
Okay.
here.
Oh, you know,
That was the
I
husband and wife.
All right, I got it.
I had sent an email to Janet about this. The only other thing I wanted to put in here was regarding Douglas and I just stated, the deed restriction, that we adopted that deed restriction. Yeah, I guess it's in, just so she did put it in
The
there.
deed
Okay.
restriction is not appropriate.
Yeah. The board stated that a deed restriction is not, recently adopted deed restriction. Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Yep,
Yep.
so she put it in there. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
A second?
Second,
You
all
got a
in
motion?
favor?
Aye.
I second.
Aye. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the minutes from February 4th. Oh, this was our combined
Yeah.
meeting with the.
I didn't see this yet.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
I got there late, I missed everything.
Joint meeting, this was the joint
Yeah,
meeting.
again, it still isn't straight about, the last paragraph is still not correct.
Well, even this,
What,
there
the
are
single
three-
point of contact? Is that what you mean?
up here where she has 50 parts per trillion, both have found elevated measured at 50 parts per trillion. I don't know if
What?
we should put that in there, because I don't think.
No, no, no,
No one
no.
ever said 50.
No, no one ever, that happens to be.
Yeah, we shouldn't put any numbers in this.
No, we can put numbers in, but that's not what was said. What was really said is that the current standard, the current standard which is in flux for notification, that's what this is called, it's the notification level, was 50 parts per million. The state's going for 20.
Right.
Our content is.
I think it's 70 part, it used to be 70.
Yeah, but.
It's going to 20.
20, okay, but our level is, we want to go toward 20, that's our purpose.
Right.
Or lower.
Or
Or
lower.
like a 15 maybe.
Some states are at 10. That's an entirely different conversation.
These are, just to be clear, what we're talking about here are notification levels. This is not what we'll call safe levels or
No.
anything like that, they're notification levels.
Meeting pre-
And what they're
covering-
concerned that those wells
covering
should be
50%.
checked and reported
Both have found.
to see if they get better.
Let's take out this sentence. Do you agree to take out, both have found elevated levels of PFAS measured at 50 parts per trillion? Just
I mean,
take out that
these are
sentence?
minutes. I think we need to watch a video. Somebody needs to watch a video.
Okay.
I didn't want to comment because I think I missed the beginning part of the beginning
Mhm.
part of the meeting too, so.
And this about Selectman Gerbic, that is not what he said.
Not even, I mean,
No.
I did
What
send
is it?
something on to try to
Comprehensive
correct it,
testing
still
instead
didn't
of
get
just
it.
testing.
I didn't even see this. Did she
And
send
the
this to
town
us?
is working
Huh?
away
Oh,
with
yeah, I didn't see
EPA.
that, yeah.
You didn't see what?
I didn't see these minutes.
Oh. I don't know.
So, yeah, I'm not ready to approve
Okay,
this.
Yeah.
we'll
Just
hold
let
on
us
this.
slide.
Agreed, yeah, well, just hold on it.
Right.
I'll try and listen to it again and make a stab at it. Okay. So the next folder that she left us was this, which is part of what we want to talk about tonight, the, this Whitcomb Avenue water treatment plant.
Yep.
Can I have that permit?
I'm sorry.
I just want to keep everything in these folders.
That's everything, including the letter or whatever.
Oh, I see.
So we did the minutes and sign permit discussion common storage.
This will go in here. Okay, so should we go back to the agenda?
Right.
And have this fit in the agenda?
Is that on the agenda?
Sure.
This was emailed to you, but,
Well, not really.
I didn't see that either.
Okay.
So do we want to talk about the discussion with the common sewer?
I think we should hit the Whitcomb. Why, like, for example, answering the question of why are we seeing this?
Was this
This was
from
included.
Nick Lawler?
Well,
Did you
actually,
send
if you
it? I
look, if
don't
you look
remember.
through it, if you look through it, you'll see it's the justification and the path forward that the water department is proposing
Yeah, take care of it.
to, basically, the idea is that Spectacle Pond is not failing, is not a place that we want to
They're
throw
not
water.
using that well anymore.
Well, they can't use it because, or they don't want to use it because of the high levels of the PFAS. That's the main
Right.
reason, all right? So the way that the strategy is, they wanted, and Kevin, it's perfectly straightforward physics. What they want to do is dilute the amount
Yeah.
of water
They blend
Yep.
it.
and blend
Blend
it,
it.
and therefore cut the levels down to some other
minimum.
notification level. So it's not that the PFASs are going to be any safer, because no one knows the answer to what safe is for those compounds.
Right.
So,
So they can install
Pretty
this-
pictures. I mean, I don't know why they just don't build a treatment plant at the
Okay.
spec pump station.
All right, if you read the text of what the water department is trying to do is, they're trying to address several things all at once. And not just the PFAS, but also to basically create the infrastructure necessary to carry the town further. There was, if it helps at all, there was a presentation made to another committee to get a relationship between the population growth over the next several decades and our water supply, whether we dip into NAGOG or allowed to dip into NAGOG or not.
No,
We
we
lost
can't
that
do
one.
that, yeah.
What?
That's
Right.
off the table.
Oh, supposedly.
Yeah.
Okay. So the idea here is that we need the water over the long term to do this.
Right.
So then the second, which is more urgent, and that shows up in the documents that have been sent to the state, because we have to explain to the state what we're doing. And in there, you can see that there's a brief history where an abutter claimed that the water department had no right to take the land or to use the land in the manner that they had in mind. And the way around this has been suggested in the documents, if you look at it. And apparently all this has been approved, so they're going to be able to establish the infrastructures they describe. So my question is that what was the purpose? Not that I think this is all interesting stuff for other reasons, but why was this sent specifically to us? Okay, I mean, I'm not,
They wanted to
I looked at it from the PFAS point of view, but there
Maybe
may be
that's
something
a-
else that's hidden here that I don't know, or maybe this is part of a communication. They're trying to get us up to speed on their thinking and their approach. For a subsequent meeting, we're supposedly going to,
I
Yeah,
think
but then-
that's what we should, bring it to the meeting.
well, I think everybody should go, my suggestion is you should go through it.
Yeah.
Nothing else, to get the terminology you
Right.
have to use.
I did start reading it, I didn't get through it all.
The other thing too, it is, and I have no way of confirming this, it's my understanding that the Massachusetts Department, the Environmental Department, sorry.
DEP?
DEP.
They themselves are independent, not independent, they are doing testing for the PFASs.
Right,
On our well?
They're
No,
doing it.
currently they're testing
they're testing it.
the landfill.
Okay, my understanding was that the state also is aware of the PFAS levels in the water, and therefore are testing the
Probably.
wells in order to,
Well, anything we test, they want to see.
yes, okay.
So-
I'm sure once they found it, they had to report to the DEP.
Rather-
Which brings me to the next question, and this, all right. During the course of the meeting with the water commissioners, Nick Lawler and,
Jim Carr?
no,
Oh,
not
no,
Jim.
Corey.
Corey. Corey is the local expert, or
Yeah.
claimed to be, okay. There was never an opportunity to sort of discuss with him and try to come to an understanding of how is the quality of the testing. The state is one part of it. So who does the state use to do the testing? Does the state do it themselves, or they hire a consulting operation with the expertise?
The state does the testing.
Okay. So are we going to basically use the results from the state, or are we going to be independently collecting data? If we don't know the answer, we don't know the answer.
No, I'll tell you.
It's rhetorical.
The state. The state will give you.
Well, we
the
don't know
answer.
the answer, because,
The state will give you the answer,
Okay.
okay?
So
Because we
this will
rely on
be,
DEP.
all right, Gino, just wait a minute, okay? So here comes the question. If the state carries out the testing, then the evaluation of the results is also going to be carried out by the state.
Mhm.
So therefore, the quality control and everything involving the testing, and what gets tested and with what frequency, because we don't know how long this has been going on. We don't know how widespread it already is, shall we say, from consumer point of view. We know nothing about any of these things. So the question is, what is the state going to be, quote, testing for? I mean, just simply say, PFAS, that's fantastic, but it's one thing. Are they going to be, for example, doing what many folks do, and that is go out and test animals?
Well, I think that was the whole debate at that last meeting is one side, there's two camps, the water commissioners and they want to go out and test everything, just test everything. And then Chase did not. He wanted to have a plan before going ahead and not be testing everything, but have a plan and, figure out exactly what to be testing for. And he was trying to, change their mind with the water department, because you can do a lot of unnecessary, expensive testing.
That's right.
For nothing.
Right. So there are 20 PFAS compounds, of which only 6 are found to be harmful so far. So you can test for PFAS and say your levels are 70, but that's the 14 compounds that are not harmful. So there's no reason to raise that kind of concern and create mass hysteria.
Exactly.
Before you have a plan to.
Exactly.
And
So I'm on Chase Gerbert's side. Like, I would like to have a plan. I don't want to just go out willy-nilly and just, let's test
And I
everything.
think the Board of Health is specifically charged with protecting the public health, and part of that is the water supply, and I think we should be the ones to work with the water department to make a plan.
I tried to find, I didn't have the book at this time, so I can claim a certain level of ignorance, but I did find something that was sent to me through Jim, where it gives the regulations, or the, shall we say, the scope of responsibility of this board. And the only thing I could find under the topic of water was, we apparently have the authority to have someone vacate their home if there's a contaminant in their water supply that is deemed to be adverse for public health. This says nothing at all about anything else, and I don't know how far that
That
can
would
be
be the
interpreted.
extreme.
And that's sort of like,
Yeah.
Would that be public water, or would that be well
it
water?
doesn't say,
Doesn't
it's
say.
silent, and that's, it
It
was
would be
written.
public, because we don't have anything for the wells.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Neither does the water department.
Yeah, I don't know when that rule was put in. It looked, from the wording, it looked like it came from maybe the 60s or there was something like
There are a
that.
lot of different sources of information regarding what the jobs and responsibilities of the Board of Health are, but when it comes down to it, it's protecting public health.
If I can interject
And the
for
water.
1 minute, Mike, and don't stop me. if
After I finish,
Talking, okay.
I'm talking.
Yeah, I'll let you finish.
and
then
I
I'll say
feel
something.
like water supply is part of public health.
Okay, the wells, if you don't know, is being neglected. All the wells that for 30 years. Finally, the DEP says, check the wells. And they find out when they test it, that we have that problem. So what they were recommended, they test that every 2 years. And that's why we have that problem.
The public well.
Right, okay? And that is all that. We have to wait for the state because we cannot test it. We are on the Board of Health. We can only justify that the thing is being done. And they want us to say, okay, everything's okay now. The state will take care of it. The EPA will also make sure that the water is to a point where it will not be poison to anybody. Because it's like poison, okay? And then after that, we'll approve it or disapprove it. But the DEP and the state will make the final decision. So we just here to say, yes, they took care of it, and now we will take it, every 2 years we'll check it. So they neglect to do that for 30 years because, especially the well that is right on this transfer station, okay? That's been neglected for 30 years. That's what they're gonna use the water for. And that's it.
Well, we don't know that. for
Everything
sure.
else.
I'm not willing to vote for something or approve of anything that
Right.
has not been presented or gone through here. So,
Exactly.
We're not gonna
so
vote.
this is,
Right.
so,
We
and
don't-
I'm not sure at this point that the water department is enthusiastic about anybody else telling them about water other than.
Exactly.
All right. And
That's
which brings me
their special.
on to the point, all the point I was trying to make is that it was never clear to me from the meeting that Mr. Corey, however competent he is, and this is not a question of his competence, I don't know what actual role he will take in basically coordinating, let's say, what's between the state and the water department, the state and the town, the state, I mean, he's sort of looked to me like he's the technical pass-through. And I don't know, I'm not confident in sitting and listening to what went on there, that anybody at that meeting basically had the background or experience, other than hand-waving, about understanding what was going on. I don't think there's a crisis here, it's just a question of, shall we say, who's taking responsibility for what, that's all.
I think you're right, and I think that goes for all of the issues about that meeting that we're going to have with them, like for the landfill. I think it's, we have to figure out who's doing what.
Yeah.
And who's responsible for what.
Now, they did form a quote, a committee of participants, including Jim, who, if you remember, the selectmen, there was appointed a group of folks.
Jim was the point
Who
of
represented.
reference for us.
For us,
Yeah.
and there were other people from the water commissioner and the selectmen and all the rest who were supposedly going to meet.
Yeah, the
and-
town administrator.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there has already been a meeting for the landfill that I called Jim about, and he went to a meeting already for it, because it was on a work day.
Yeah.
I just can't leave to
Yeah,
go.
no,
Middle of the day.
So I called Jim.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the start of the landfill
Right.
thing.
So there's also, I understand, dioxins also coming out of the landfill.
What?
What?
There's another class of compound, my understanding is it's associated with the landfill. Dioxins.
Dioxides?
Dioxins, yes.
Oh, I thought you said dachshunds, like the
No,
dog.
I did too.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So- Wiener dogs.
They're getting it.
Okay. No, it's this kind of garbled stuff that comes through, that,
I'm
you know.
not familiar with that.
What?
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, I think it'd be worthwhile to have another conversation with Jim and ask him about the landfill in particular, because it's other things. Just ask the question if there are other things other than the PFASs that we need to be concerned about.
Or even ask Jim to give us his comments on the meetings that he's attended, so that we know what
Exactly.
what they've discussed and
Right.
what we need to do, if anything.
In my talking with Jim, the only responsibility the Board of Health has for a landfill is site assignment. Really, that's,
What-
beyond that, it's, out of our hands.
Wait a minute, so what site assignment?
Site assignment is that we can say, yeah,
Where
that's
they
a
go.
good, that's a healthy,
Yeah,
Okay,
put it right
that's
next to the well.
Yeah, by all means,
Exactly.
no.
But
Okay,
you on the
good.
board, Gino, on
I
that?
thought that's what you meant. All right, good, all right.
I have some comments. I just want to get it out
Oh.
there and get it on public record. Following our joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen and Littleton Water Department, I have a lot of questions, comments, and concerns. The first question is, for which PFAS compounds are we testing for? Is it the 6 that have found to be harmful? Or is it the larger group of 20 or so that are also classified in this group? So I'd like to get the Water Department's take on that when we meet with them on the 4th. And have the levels risen since it was tested in August. I read 50 in the minutes here. I didn't hear 50
I don't know where that
called
came
out.
from.
I heard
No,
28 was in the letter.
Yep.
So that's that.
Yeah.
So we're at the point where 20 parts per trillion is about to become the maximum PFAS limit in Massachusetts. Some states are at 10 or 12. We need to get ahead of the problem and be proactive as a Board of Health. We're specifically charged with the responsibility to ensure public health. I feel it's our duty to plan and take the next steps. So I feel like, number one, we need to determine the number and locations of private wells currently in use for drinking water. We need to test these private wells in question for the 6 PFAS compounds only found to be harmful. Hire an outside, unbiased environmental scientist. Not saying Mr. Godfrey is biased, but I would like to get an outside opinion because 2 heads are better than 1. I want them to evaluate the testing results. Companies like Ramble in Westford, companies like AECom in Chelmsford. There's a company that's doing this for air, but it might be a conflict of interest for them, since I feel like air may be the problem that this is all
Yep.
stemming from.
Yep.
There was a fire in 2010 where the fire department sprayed all the foam all over the place.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's, I
loaded.
feel like, what got the problem started.
Yeah, it's loaded with PFAS.
So I feel like if these
Where's
wells,
the fire?
I don't know exactly where it was, I think it
In
was some,
air?
in air, yeah. If these wells that we test are found to have levels of over 20 parts per trillion, we need to provide options for the residents.
Talking private wells?
Private wells.
Excuse me, according to what I heard at the meeting, the owners of the property on which the private wells reside.
Are now responsible.
Yes, they can get advice and input, but they are, quote, financially and technically responsible for their.
Well, I think we should
Exactly.
change that. And I think we should mandate that the wells be tested at the cost of the water department, Board of Health, town somehow, I don't care. Add $1 onto my water bill every month, every quarter. I think we can afford it. It's for the good of the public health. 3 options, we should give them options. If they are found to have high levels of PFAS in their water, let's recommend 3 different types of water treatment for drinking. So there's a company out there, I have links I can send to Janet so we can get it on public record. I have a friend that's a doctor, lives in Littleton, he's already implemented one in his house. It's called the Aquasana Reverse Osmosis. They have a separate tap only for drinking water.
It's filterizer too.
It's a filter. So I think there's a lot of work to be done.
Okay.
We're in a big transition here, and I think we need to be proactive and take the lead in getting the information out to the residents that have private wells, because right now they're in the dark. And if it was me, I'd be pretty upset with the Board of Health if they didn't call me up and tell me what was going on.
Actually, excuse me, Mike, we, the Board of Health, we should suggest to the selectmen to say, whoever had used well, they should have a check. Even if we have to pay for it, even if the town has to pay for it, okay? Check, it's only.
Their staff members to do that, it's not. they're
Yeah,
not
I'm
expensive.
saying, I know, but they should be able to check it. A lot of people have wells. You know, some only use it for land, for the grass.
For irrigation. yeah.
Right, irrigation. And some of them, they use it for drinking. I know a lot of people, they use it for drinking.
And
And
I
they
bet-
don't know if it's good or not.
And I bet 80% of those people that have private wells right now don't even know how to use the internet.
Yeah, correct.
Excuse me, I'm not sure that's the case, because the water department sent out to everybody, including the well owners, a notice indicating what was going on, the PFAS levels,
Mhm.
and noted the fact that the wells, private wells were being affected. They made a notation that private owners or the folks who own the wells have responsibility for addressing it, and they can be assisted. So they have been informed.
Yeah. I
Okay.
think it's a-
And the other piece of it, and I have no idea what the reaction would be, but I think there's two concerns. One would be when the town assumes financial responsibility for private property, which the well is, there comes along with it lots of hooks. And I'm not sure the town wants that responsibility. I mean, I don't know what their attitude is, but private
Well,
wells, yeah.
I
I'm sorry,
mean,
yeah.
I agree, I don't think, right now, it is a private property.
Right.
And even the water department claims no ownership
That's-
of it.
yeah.
So I don't think that we have the right to say what they should do with it.
Oh, we
But I
can
think
do that.
Yes, we
But I
can.
think that there was some talk about wells a while ago for the Board of Health. Did Jim mention it, or Janet, or somebody did? And I thought we were gonna make it part of our meeting to add some wording about wells into the Board of Health's responsibilities. But
I mean,
I
we
don't
can-
think
Sorry.
it should be the Board of Health or the town paying for them to get their well tested. It's their choice to be on a well. You know what I mean?
That's wrong.
Well,
It's not their choice, there's no town water in the street.
right, but they choose to live there. They don't have to live there.
I know, but the question is, when they test it, they only test a little thing like that. It's not that expensive.
Exactly, so they can, well,
It's the
It's a kit you buy or
rectification.
whatever.
I mean, this is more than testing, it's also rectification.
It's
What do you
rectification. Yeah,
do?
you give them options.
Yeah.
Here are 3 different recommended treatments you can put under your sink,
Okay.
and this is where you drink from. Or
Mhm.
if it's a large-scale area and these 10 homes on this street are all on their private wells, you put in place a betterment,
Right.
and you run town water down the street, and
Exactly.
you hook them up.
That's it.
And
That's
the
what
town
the water-
waives the $5,000, whatever the fee is now to connect it. You get the local excavators to dig the holes, they do it, they get advertising. I mean, this is not a big problem. This can be solved easily.
Yeah, they use
You
their
know, we just
water.
need to take action and do it, and realize our
They don't have to pay.
responsibility. We could go ahead and declare a public emergency right now and mandate that all those wells get tested and fixed.
A
I think you're
public
gonna
what?
create mass chaos by,
I think,
Right, so let's take the right steps.
I think we should wait for the next meeting we have with the water department, and they'll probably tell us more about it. And I'm saying that for the reason, like you say, and some people, just because they have the well, they will say, oh yeah, I had a test data, it's okay. No, you have to bring it to the water department, a little bit of that water, that you take it from your well. That's what the water department wants. They take it and they will take care of it.
And see, they test for the right thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the only thing we can do to recommend the town as a board of health for their safety. Very simple. And if they don't like, if it is to a point where it's really danger, don't use that well no more. Hook up the town water.
That's right.
Very simple. Like you say, it might cost a little bit of money, but they don't have to pay all at once. They give them a break, you know.
It's a betterment over 30 years.
Right, that's
it.
what I'm saying, like we do with the sewage treatment.
Does anyone here know offhand what the level of PFASs are in any of the private wells right at the moment? Is it
Private wells?
In the private wells. You're talking about private wells, all right? So just to be clear, when we use the word safe, it's a little bit, it is not a play on words. It's important to understand that the levels that are set, whether it's 50 now being dropped to 20 or dropped to 10, those are levels where you send a letter, or you, if you are there or above, you say, you alert. There is no evidence anywhere in humans, for sure, about exactly what level it should be where any negative effects are experienced. It is all derived from animal testing
Right.
and collecting animals that live around the environment
Right.
and use the water.
Right.
And what effects it has, what they see correlated with liver and other functions. And that's how they come up with this. So these are not announcements of public health dangers. It's an advisory level.
Yeah,
That's all it is. It's an advisory level.
kind of like climate change, right?
Yeah, like the climate change, you're right.
Like it might happen,
Right,
but it
right.
might not happen.
No, this is not like.
Okay, then what is it?
It's.
'Cause this is the same.
No, it's not the same. It's a big difference. The big difference is that in this case, it's very difficult with this particular class of compound, there is no way of evaluating in a rigorous fashion, even though it's been around for, let's see, 2003 or earlier, there's no way to test those compounds effectively and decide what is really, quote, has, I'll use the word, a toxic effect on any organ system in humans. All we can do is make inferences
So
from
where-
what we see with animals and.
So where did the fact that it affects low birth weight and kidney failure?
That all came from animals. There is
That
absolutely
is true.
nothing, there's no hard data on humans simply because in order to get that data, you need to control the population. And it's unethical.
But at this
to do
moment,
this.
we will not know unless they test the water. It could be, let's say 5. You're not gonna say, oh, it's gonna be gone completely. But if it's 5, it will not hurt you as much. It will be like when it's 25, it will really hurt you. So
Yes,
there
yeah.
might be a minimum, but we don't know now until they test it. So when they test it, we can make some suggestion. Very simple. If it's below 10, it's safe according to the federal, not by the state, because this is all over the country.
right.
Okay? Very simple. Like the sewage treatment. When we trying to get the sewage treatment, because they have sewage treatment in Lowell. You know what the water after it goes through the sewage treatment goes? Okay, I'll tell you. To the river, which is contaminated. Do you know how much they asking? $50 billion to
to make sure,
Okay.
to control that all over Massachusetts.
The difference here.
$500 billion all over the country.
The difference here is that there is no hard science, unfortunately, because it's hard to get about the effects, the biological effects on humans from these compounds.
Right.
But we do know
I
that,
don't see a PhD on after anybody's name here. We need to talk
Right.
to somebody.
I actually have one.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
Where is
Mine
it?
in the water
It's in-
department.
It's in molecular biology.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't flash it. There's no
All right.
reason to.
And it's,
Okay?
you get a
So-
pen, it's
So,
safe.
I mean, this has nothing to do with my PhD, it has to do with just common sense. If you don't know, if you don't have rigorous testing, you have no idea what safe means.
We gotta get tested.
All right?
Yeah.
It's not like, the
Well,
closest.
we have an idea about what the state is going to call safe.
No, the state is going to set a level that says this is the level that you must report, you must notify the state and the public if you're above this level.
Right.
Because
Because-
as methods for testing improve, there was a time we couldn't test for something more than 70 parts per trillion. Now we can test for as little as 2 or 1
Yeah.
because of improvements of
So
technology.
is that, so that's the question, is, it used to be 70 parts per trillion, and
Yeah.
is that why it's lowered to 20? Because now we can?
Yep.
Our
That's
testing
it.
is better.
It's not that,
It's
The
not.
same-
that-
it's not
I'm
that
gonna
we-
fact
safe
check
levels.
that.
Huh?
I'm gonna fact check you.
Why you want to test? You can do whatever you want, it's fine.
I have a question.
Sure.
Like, so the water department, does the water department actually know how many private wells? Is like they just
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
going
I
back
think they do. Yeah, they
and
figured
saying?
out
They
Yeah.
asked Jim that question, and Jim's answer was, it might be in a file in Neshoba. Or it is in a file in Neshoba.
well, for that meeting, they were figuring out in that area they were talking about who they didn't have a water bill for or something.
Well, I mean,
Did
that's
they
what I
do?
mean, if are they just going backwards and finding out
Yeah.
who doesn't have town water to
Yeah.
find out who has private wells?
Yeah, they, yeah.
Because like you said, the people that have private wells may not have internet access, they may not know that this is happening, and it might be, have to be a door-to-door,
And-
hey,
and-
get your well checked.
Yeah, and the water department seems very eager to basically run the whole, they want to run the entire water quality business themselves, which is,
Yeah.
understandable.
And also, it'd be also appropriate to say, to suggest, it says, okay, we testing the well, let's test the town water. Have a check, just one. Don't have to have the household, just one individual that use town water. And then you see the level. Very simple, they can determine. Because it's,
I don't think the
The
town
water
water
been
is, I don't think the
contaminated
town
for a long
water is an
time.
issue.
Well,
Well, it is, Spec
by
Pond's-
testing
Water
our
from
wells,
Spec
that's
Pond,
our
but hasn't
water.
Spec Pond been
you know,
shut down?
Yeah, they shut it off.
They're not even using it
But it
anymore.
provides 52% of the water to the town.
May I explain something very important? I mean, I work, when the reserve of water, the tanks, those big
Yeah.
tank?
Yeah.
Well, I worked on it, and I had 20 people cleaning it up. We had to take all the water out, and we had to clean it. Do you know what we found in that water tanks?
I don't wanna know.
Fish, lobsters, shrimps.
Lobster?
Yeah, shrimps, dead. And
Lobsters.
dirt, so dirty that we had to have a mask
Oh, sure.
to work on it.
Sure.
And I had a crew that I had to say, every 2 hours, you go out, get some fresh air. That's how dirty those tanks are. People don't realize. That is not only the well, it's where they contain the fresh water. So it's nothing wrong by asking the town, let's check the town water. It's like they want us to test the well water, let's test the town water,
Well, they're testing the town water.
okay?
Yeah.
But we want to see it, being a board of health.
Yeah.
We like to see it.
Absolutely, every single
Okay.
test.
Very simple. And I worked on it, and I know. And you'd be surprised how many people
And
are
I
sick.
think we should have our own unbiased environmental scientists come in and analyze those results
That's
for
what I'm
us.
saying.
So they can put it in layman's terms.
That's
'Cause we only
it.
have one PhD here,
Right.
I think. You might have one.
I don't.
Oh, you might, well, you're an MD.
No,
MD?
No,
No.
RDH.
RDH.
But I bet a lot of people
It's got
don't
an
know
H in
where you contain the water. A lot of people don't know that they have to be cleaned every 5 years.
It is required by state law that any stored water anything that goes into still water has to be immediately tested.
held.
It must be,
Is
anything
it treated
held for
after
more
it's
than 2
held,
hours.
or?
Like that tank up on,
It's tested before it's put in the tank, and then it's tested after. That
And
was-
treated if
yeah,
if necessary.
So, and also they changed the standard on the linings and the integrity of it. There's been a lot of changes made.
All right,
So I think we need to recommend 3 treatment options for folks when their wells come back over a certain level. And then I think we also need to take a look at the option of bringing town water to those people at a reduced cost. Maybe, I mean, we could look for grants. We could ask for public support. I mean, I don't know how many excavators live in this town, but I'm sure they'd love to get their name out there and show people that, you know what, they're not just in it for the buck, that they're, you know, in it to support the community. I feel like this Board of Health would be doing a real disservice and not doing our job if we didn't take action on this.
Yeah,
and make
correct.
something happen. And I know the people that elected me would not be happy to know that we're sitting here doing nothing, not even letting people with private wells, like, focused on those people, letting them know that something's wrong, or something's gonna be wrong, or something could get worse.
Yeah.
We gotta be proactive and we gotta get ahead of it.
Okay.
we have to be proactive, but we can't be chaotic and
No,
cause mass
absolutely not.
hysteria.
No, we don't wanna do that.
We do very slowly, yeah.
But we gotta do something.
And I think
And I don't feel comfortable leaving it in the water department's hands.
So now okay. So at the moment, we don't know what the water department's point of view is about, other than using other
They
than
wanna
knowing.
test the wells too.
They want to test the wells for a different purpose, okay? They want to test the wells for a different purpose. They have, from my understanding, is that they're perfectly willing to inform the owners of the wells that what the levels are, and make recommendations and assist them. But as far as I know, the water department has not proposed anything proactive, that is, to follow the line you are of supplying, you know, town water for them as an alternative, or doing any of those things.
Well, that would be the extreme.
But that will be our decision to tell them that we like to have some
Okay,
results.
so my suggestion is that we propose, if we meet up with the water department and we get to this particular topic, it would be a good idea to offer this up as have you considered A, B, and C?
Right.
Open up the discussion with them. Okay, not that it means that the Board of Health has abandoned its job. It's basically, they have the technology, they have the access to the funding, they have access to all the tools you need in order to make it real. And the last time I looked, that's not in our budget.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we can make proposals
Right.
and make suggestions, okay, but I'd much rather have the water department and the health department, the Board of Health,
Combined.
Together.
together.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yep, I agree.
But I think that finger wagging and telling them what to do and how to do it and all the rest.
We suggest.
At the
we
first
suggest,
meeting,
yeah.
I think we ought to explore,
Right.
try to come to an understanding to them about what, we can state our sentiment, the fact that we are responsible for public health, but they are in a better position than we are from any number of point of view to execute.
That's true.
And hear the suggestions, or hear the questions we've had.
Yeah, or see if they've even come up with the same options.
They may
that
come up
Kevin
with exactly
has
what you've come up
suggested.
with.
Yep.
I mean, for all I know, they've already got it all lined up. So I'd much rather have them working hand in glove with us rather than,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm making a statement here just regarding putting together the plan. Like Jim said, he would like to see a plan before we do any testing. So let's make a plan. And let's figure it out. And let's work hand in hand with LWD to get this plan in writing and get it executed.
And get results right
And
away.
get the results.
Very simple.
But I feel like
You're doing your
leaving
job.
our residents in the dark
Right. A lot of people.
does
they-
no one, anybody, does
Lot of people
no
don't know.
good for
well,
anybody. So-
people who get water bills, no, because they mailed an insert and then mailed it separately again, I think. Because I got two notices about it.
I get my water bill and I pull out the bill thing and I tear up the other parts that I didn't even read them.
They do a lot.
People get water bills online.
They do a lot of
It's
mailings.
online.
They do a lot of mailings and
All the
like
PFAS
water.
stuff's on the water department's website.
How
I
many
know.
people with private wells are reading the water department's website?
I don't know.
0.
Because they
I
don't
wouldn't
get,
say zero.
because they don't get water.
Oh,
Right,
yeah.
they don't get water from the
They don't
town.
get-
But if
They
they're
don't get a
hearing
bill,
about
they
it,
don't
if they're
get-
hearing about it, they may be going
They might be
on.
concerned, you're right. But the question, we have to let them know.
Be proactive.
Right.
We got a job.
Yeah, we got a job, we gotta do it, yeah.
So
Lot of
are we
things
still
happen.
gonna have that meeting, or you, with like,
I
with
have,
water?
yeah, I was trying to reschedule the meeting because I have a thing on the March 4th, but I haven't heard from them yet, so.
Maybe we should go, I mean, it would be hard to reschedule, maybe we should
Keep it.
go without you. Just get some information.
So that is March 4th, when's our next meeting? It's the
It's on,
10th.
it's at,
Next Wednesday. I think it's at 6 o'clock or 6.
yeah, I thought
Yeah,
it's six,
it's
that's at
it's
6
at
or
their
6:30.
facility on Air Road.
I mean, I feel like in my heart, you know, we need to make a motion to notify the residents with private wells
Yeah.
that we
I-
are going to require testing.
I make a motion
No,
to
I
make
think-
sure.
I think we
can
need
make
to
a
check
motion, you can
because-
reject it, or you can forward. I make a motion that everyone in the town of Littleton that has a well should have the water tested by the water department and also by the DEP. So they can get it one way and they can show it to DEP that there's an improvement or is maybe the same that it was before.
I don't think we can say, I think we have to talk to the water department
They
first.
may
to
already be
see-
No.
doing it.
No, we don't have to. We make and the motion
This is the
made.
most powerful board in town.
Yeah. I made the motion, you can refuse,
I second.
you'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's only two of us. So something happened the other way, we'll say, hey,
I voted for it.
three people, they understand the situation.
What does it
Very
cost
simple.
you?
That's not true.
Well, why don't you say yes then? Why don't- It's
What does it
nothing
cost
that
you?
Because
you,
I
need
want
more
to get more
information.
information.
you got all the information that you can get. at
We
this
don't know
moment.
what the water
We're
is
just
doing.
This is a huge
We-
problem, and we're just starting to
We
talk about
asking the
it.
water department to make sure that those people that left the well should be notified, okay?
Do you know they haven't
Yes,
been?
but we haven't asked them yet.
They haven't done yet.
How do you know that?
They haven't tested private wells.
Have they talked to the people that have private
We
wells?
haven't even
don't know
talked to the
that.
No.
water department, we
Yeah.
haven't met with them yet to talk to them.
We had a meeting with them 2 weeks ago. with the-
Yeah, but it was with the board of select, it was, you know,
And-
It was more board.
And the
board
water
oversight.
department wants the wells tested.
Right. The water department wants
Okay.
the well tested, you're right. So I
So let's make it
initiate-
happen.
let's talk to them when we meet.
Okay.
Talk to them.
So I postponed the motion to another time, I guess. Then, it doesn't make any sense, but anyway, you have it your way, that's it.
I think that's a question that we can ask them at the meeting when we have the meeting with them next Wednesday, is what have you done to notify owners of private wells? Have you done anything yet?
Yeah.
Because
No,
if you
we
haven't.
notified
then-
everybody in the town
Yeah.
about the August 1st letter said the levels are at 28.
But like you said, owners of private wells, or just
The
people that
whole
get
town
water?
that get town water.
So.
They can't test people's private wells unless the Board of Health tells them to.
And the water department's gonna say,
But have
did
they
you make a motion?
notified that
And
they
say-
may want to have their wells tested?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
So we need to talk to them.
So let's ensure that that gets done.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to ensure that the water department notifies all residents with private wells that their wells need to be tested within 60 days
I
for
second it.
6 compounds of PFAS that are
Okay.
found to be harmful.
I second.
Repeat that again?
I'll make a motion to ensure / mandate that the Littleton Water Department test all the private wells in Littleton for the 6 harmful PFAS chemicals to make sure they're not in their water.
And you're gonna.
And if they are in the water,
Right.
then we provide them 3 treatment solutions, so we're not just throwing them to the wolves and having them go online and do all the
Right.
research.
Right.
3 recommended treatment solutions to filter out the harmful PFAS.
Okay, I would like to just speak, not in opposition to the intent of your motion, but to the effect of your motion. and that is that at this point, what the water department has in mind to do with their budget, which is considerably larger than ours, and the manpower and their connection with the state and on, which is very important.
Money should not be the issue here.
What?
Money should not be the issue here.
Wait, it's not whether or not the money is available to do it. It's basically, we don't have that money. When we say words like mandate or anything like that, that means execute. We don't have execute.
It doesn't matter. We're gonna either get grants somehow, we're gonna get public support, we'll do a Kickstarter, GoFundMe, I don't care. I think it'll get done.
But we have the right to make a decision.
What I'd like to suggest before we make motions and wag our finger unknowingly at anybody, I'd like to have a session either offline or inline with the water department and find out what they are actually doing or not doing about the private wells. Then we can come back.
Exactly,
agree.
that's how I feel about it.
Just come back and then look at motions based on what is or is not being done. Now, if they come and say, no, we're not testing the wells, or we are testing the wells, and we're not going to do anything about it, we can then say, we're going to have to consider this in the light of public health. Then you come back, knowing that, I don't know what they're going to say. If they say, no, we're not going to basically do anything about this, or offer any of the remediation avenues, yours or anybody else's, then we'll come back and decide our course of action. At that point, if they're to do something at this point that they may have already decided to do and have the ability to do it, seems premature for us to go out and suggest to them before we collect the information about what they should or shouldn't be doing, about what we should or shouldn't be doing. That's all I'm saying.
For us to sit here tonight and make decisions in
Right.
this closed room without going to talk to other people that have already been dealing with it,
Yeah.
I don't think it's wise. I think we
Right.
need to get more information.
Kevin, I'm just trying to defend your decision. If, because you want to wait 2 weeks, 2 weeks could be something that might be too long. Is there anybody willing to go to the water department? If everybody's working, I'm able to go to the water department and just tell them that we are very concerned for the time. Waiting 2 weeks, it might harm somebody. If we have the decision right now, not now, but when I speak to the water department, if you guys says, okay, Gino, you can go and talk to them, I'll be willing to do it and then report it to the office, and the office will email everybody and says, the water department has a suggestion. You make the motion. And then we know that we can say, we are able to grant practically the motion to the Board of Health, and we go from there.
I appreciate that, Gino, but I was at a meeting, I think the date was February 4th,
Yeah.
and the water department said, we want to test the private wells.
Okay, but nothing happened yet.
Right, because.
So what I'm saying is, I know the water department, and they know me when I go there, I want results, okay? Because I've been here for too long, all right? I'm sorry, Mike, but I'm saying I can do that for you guys.
Thank you.
And then when it goes to the office, okay, somebody will come, because Janet, she's in vacation. I don't know when she's coming, in a week or so, okay? And then Shelley will be able to email to everybody. I'll make sure of that. And then you say, you can suggest the motion to be accepted when the meeting that between myself and the water department, that we need right away an answer for February, with the 25th now. Now, what if somebody gets sick and then they know that we have done nothing? It doesn't cost anything.
Gino,
I'll be willing to go there.
Gino, I'm sorry. Gino, at this point, I think you're going to do the board and yourself a disservice, okay? I think that we have a meeting scheduled to come up to sit with the water department and go over these questions calmly and in order. And by March the 4th, I can assure you, because of the levels that they're talking about in the wells, that the chances of that doing any harm between then and the time we have the meeting, let's put it this way, you have a better chance of getting COVID-19 okay?
Okay, I understand I've been denied, but as a citizen, I'm sorry, I can go and say, I want my water to be checked. Very simple. And you have nothing to say. No one of you. You want to delay things. I wanted to have it done quickly.
Yeah, I don't see why we need to have 3 meetings and
Right.
6 weeks go by before.
And the
we
guy,
make a decision.
he went there February the 4th, today is the 25th. How long does it take to get an answer? I will go tomorrow,
maybe
and
it's
I will
not-
take responsibility as a citizen of Littleton that I've been here for 29 years.
Mr.
And I
Chairman,
say no more.
May I ask that, that one of our members is out of
That's
order?
it. I'm not out of order. I'm gonna go tomorrow.
Okay, enough.
That's it.
You can go tomorrow as a private citizen.
As a private citizen.
Not for the Board of Health.
I said as a private citizen.
Enough, Gino.
Okay.
Don't drink that.
Poland Springs. I agree with you and with the testing and with giving people the options, but I want to know what the water department has done, is planning to do. I want to see what, they're the experts, they have more expertise
right.
than we do.
They gave us answers quickly.
So I'll wait. I won't make any decision on your motion until we have that meeting.
We already had a meeting.
Thank you.
Where's the, oh.
Do we want to adjourn this discussion?
We can move
I
on.
think we're just
Move on.
going around in circles, but I don't think
We
we
can
can
move on.
solve
You guys don't want to
anything.
do anything right now? I would rather act and be proactive and get ahead of it. You guys don't. That's cool. Move
That's
on.
that's not what we're saying, because even if you made a motion tonight, what and when could get done tomorrow? Or what could get done before the 4th?
Whatever we want.
No, we
We can
can't.
put things in motion.
Well, we can, I mean, things that may already be in motion.
No, they're not. Because nothing came out of that meeting with the board of selectmen.
That's not completely true.
Was there a vote taken?
After the meeting, there were further discussions inside the water department about the way forward. I wasn't present for the meetings, but I have a pretty
I'm
good
sure
idea.
they're talking about it.
No,
They want to sell water. And they're about to give all their money to Poland Spring. That was his comment. Well, we already lined up the bottled water. So,
that's in the. in
let's
the
talk
case-
about something else. We're
in
not
the
getting
case-
anywhere.
The offer for a commercial source of water was made in cases where the wells could not be, shall we say, the condition could not be mitigated in a timely fashion. That's what it was for. That's the only time they mentioned it.
Yep. And when that kind of stuff gets mentioned, it's a problem. So let's move on. We're not going to get anywhere with that.
Right.
Next.
So next is the discussion. on the
Okay,
sewage.
so part of this meeting for Wednesday, I know it's not
Yeah, it's okay.
on here, but part of the meeting, the email said they want to talk about the landfill, the PFAS, and the sewer.
Mhm.
Okay.
So those are very broad topics to cover in one meeting.
Mhm.
So, you know, I don't know how much we'll get to talk about at that meeting. It's a start.
We're going to end up having 4 meetings with them.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of
And it's going to
meetings.
go until August.
Mhm.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's gonna go, but it's not gonna be a quick answer or a quick fix.
But the Board of Health has the power and the authority to make a decision and make something happen.
And one thing, David.
Without
I
having
understand-
more meetings.
I understand that the water department is taking over the contract of the sewer street. I don't understand what happened to the engineer and a company. that's
I'll be
supposed
very
to-
happy to go through. That's one of the topics tonight, if you guys want to get caught up.
Yeah,
with
let's
it.
move on to that
Yep,
one.
that's good.
This is far more exciting. Okay, all right, all right. So, the idea of putting in a so-called smart, I'll put quotations around that sewer, finally came to the point where it was being, shall we say, a feasibility and a preliminary design and estimated cost of install, and also assistance in securing additional funds was put on the hands of the Board of Selectmen, who then hired a very well-known engineering firm who worked with them to provide basically feasibility studies, an initial what we'll call preliminary design based on known loads, and this is all obviously for the common, just so that we're clear. And a particular area was mapped out that would be included in that. And it reached the point where it started to take life because the town meeting approved funding, not only for each step, but also left it open for a particular piece of property to be purchased by the town in order to place one of the pieces of equipment necessary to operate the sewer. Right? At this point, because it was becoming more of what the water department does, which is an enterprise operation which provides a service to the town on a fee for service and volume basis, it was determined that the best course of action was then to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the water department so that they now have, shall we say, responsibility for doing the following. To come up with a construction design, which means this will be the design used to construct it. Cost, access to funds. So the idea would be that the water department would lead the effort in making the applications to various outside sources to provide supplemental funds beyond what the state and or the town can provide for the cost. Now, to be clear, the water district.
And the water department's gonna send the sewer bills out anyway.
Okay. There's two reasons for having the water department do it. First of all, they're already set up as a business. They're one of the few parts of the town that are actually set up that way. The cost to the town to create an entire separate
Sewer department.
sewer department is far more than basically the water department making at the most maybe 2, maybe 3 hires at the most in order to run basically, which is basically a 4-block sewer system.
Right.
Okay? So that's how the water department ended up with it. Now, they have since hired an engineering firm to go over what engineering firm A did, because that was a preliminary, both with respect to design, cost estimate, and all the rest. And they're supposedly going to finish that process in March and make a report to the town, including the Board of Selectmen, probably in part in preparation for having something on the warrant, so the town, at town meeting, can vote necessary funds. The water department thus, along with who the firm they've hired, which is basically even better engineering firm that was originally hired because of the change in expertise, they'll also have a clear idea of the sequence of construction. Are they going to put in everything at once, or is it going to be done incrementally over time? Now, the only question that I've pursued, and it comes from a particular point of view, which is what will be the limits of capacity on the, quote, water or the sewer system supplying the common? Because what's the point of having a sewer system to improve the common when all you're doing is replacing the septic systems with something else with no greater capacity? That makes no sense. Because the idea is that the common is somewhat unique. Land use there is very inefficient. It's probably one of the few places where you can it's already zoned for mixed use. So above ground, it has a lot more potential than is sitting there. So my question, in all openness to you, was, what's the point of having a sewer system unless it can handle more than what the septics can? And the data what's come back is yes. So if they want to, if there's going to be a restaurant or a community center that's going to be taking care of everybody from toddlers to elders, we'll have the capacity to do it. So I'm just painting a stroke so you understand where the question came from. So at the moment, if we have any questions, and we don't have to have them tonight, if we have any questions, I'll be very happy to collect them, get clarity about what you mean if they're not clear, and convey it appropriately.
My question is, when they call a small sewage treatment, they only have an intention to supply only maybe 100 individuals, which would be a company, not IBM, because they have a sophisticated sewage treatment. who they will supply? Little business, maybe housing, maybe instead of they have one house, they will have multiple, 3 floors down on the common. My point is, when they have the small sewage treatment, I worked on the sewage treatment, I don't have a PhD, I worked on it $110 million, 25 years ago. The question is, when they have the pump station, because the water goes through, when you go to the bathroom, that residue, it goes to a pump station. Now they have the water that goes through. I wanted to know where the water is gonna be dumped.
High school.
Down there on 495, because that's what they were thinking about 20 years ago? Or it's gonna be a place where they
Gino,
can, it's gonna go underground?
Put
No, let me
your
finish.
question on paper, and I'll be very happy to convey it
I'm
for
trying
you.
to educate here individuals.
You're not
that
educating
they
anybody.
they never saw a sewage treatment, and you haven't seen one either.
Gino,
Look, can I speak?
yes, but you can speak if you're not gonna yell.
I'm not yelling, I'm
You
talking a
are
little bit loud.
yelling.
I
Calm.
want to make sure
Be
that Kevin
calm.
understand, because
Calm
he's a
down.
young man and is very intelligent. Okay, and he's the intelligent, but he never worked on a
Gino.
sewage treatment. I'm not yelling.
Don't talk
Okay,
about
Kevin?
anyone's
Kevin,
experience.
you understand what I'm saying? When I want to see the sewage
Chairman?
treatment, I want to make sure.
Madam Chairman, I believe the member is out of order.
No,
Because
he's not
all
out
that's
of
being
order.
requested here is
You've been
direct
speaking all
questions.
night and I have not say anything.
Gino, enough, okay?
No, wait a minute. He spoke so much
Enough.
that you don't
Enough.
give me the opportunity to speak.
That's not
And I
true.
wanted the people to understand that, because I want to speak. I was voted in the Board of Health so I can express my view. And don't
Yes, but
stop.
you're yelling.
I'm not yelling.
You are
I'm
yelling.
talking
I'm
very-
telling you.
Okay,
you're
I'm not yelling.
He's
Calm
Italian,
down
that's how he's
before- I'll let you
I'll calm down,
continue.
yeah.
I will let you continue, but you have to
I
stop
will.
first.
I will not
Listen,
yell.
stop. You have to stop first and calm down.
Okay.
And then you can continue.
Right.
In a calm voice.
Yes.
Or you will not continue.
Okay.
Do you understand?
No, yes, but I understand. Okay, Kevin, you
Yes.
understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have to know really.
The discharge
how-
area. You're
Pardon me?
talking about the discharge area? It's gonna be at the high school.
Pardon me?
It's gonna be at the high school.
No, I know.
Okay.
I know, okay. All the stuff goes there,
Yeah.
and then the water goes through. So what I'm trying to tell you is, that water, like it happened in Lowell, it goes right on the river. I wanna know where this water that's contaminated, where it's gonna go. It's gonna go back on the ground, and it's gonna filter out.
It's a
And they
big
gotta-
septic system.
That's what I'm saying. They have to find a place where they can use it, away from the area. And I wanna know where they're gonna be.
It's gonna be at the high school.
But when it comes out of the system, it is clean. It's treated.
It goes back to the water department, into the PFAS, the whole thing.
And if it goes to the different, not rivers, because we don't have any big rivers.
It's the aquifer, the groundwater.
Right, groundwater. But I'm saying, that's the question that I have to ask. And also, when I suggested to the engineer, when you put a sewage treatment, they put a pipe, which a lot of people don't understand. I had an engineer that says, I'm gonna put a pipe from here to there. Whenever anybody wants to be connected, they're gonna put a T. It doesn't make any sense. So if you put a pipe in one long street, you have to put a T in each street. So you don't have to shut down the whole system. A lot of people don't understand that.
Okay, you can write your questions down and give them to
Okay,
Mike.
I'm all set. Thank you,
I'll
Kevin.
write the question down, Mike, but you said that there was some property that was gonna be purchased for the water treatment system? Have they decided?
They
or are
have,
there-
they have to make a decision, an engineering decision about what equipment they need and what the site will be. But the town has provisionally said it's all right for them to, as it were, begin looking for and make bids for that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, nothing's been purchased, because we
Okay.
don't know what the final engineering construction design is going to be.
So-
Well, yeah.
And then, so we don't know the price and the.
No,
I mean, I know,
that's-
went to some of the preliminary
Mhm.
meetings for community input and information meetings a while ago. I think you were
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the other committee, the
I'm still on it.
master
Yeah,
plan.
Yes, part of the master
And
plan.
great presentation, but still, there's a lot of unknowns because it's a project.
Wasn't the intent to house the treatment facility on the highway department or LELD land?
That still is
An
in the
option.
works. One of the reasons, by the way, I mean, just send the question, just give me the questions and I will shepherd them through.
Okay.
No, I mean, this all I was trying to do is.
Yep, no.
Is there a
Because-
date that you need them by? Let's put a date on it.
Let's put it this way, they're gonna be doing their work in March, they're gonna have come out with allegedly the budget in March. And the reason I wanted to put us in a position to do this is basically so we can establish a connection with this project early. That's really my intent here, to make sure, because I think they appreciate any, shall we say, participation by other committees and other boards that have a role.
And we also did unanimously approve, I think, at one meeting.
For
For
the good
sewer.
of public
Yeah.
health to
Yeah.
sewer
Yeah.
the common.
Yeah.
If I
So-
may, I had a thought, and if we're just, talking about sewering the common because of the, A, potential for development, B, well, A, for public health because it's contaminating the groundwater,
Mhm.
B, for potential development. I just don't see why we don't have this all set up within the common. And I know there's not a lot of land, but there are certain tactics a municipality can take for the greater good of the municipality, and one of those is called eminent domain. And I don't see why it's not appropriate to put into motion doing something like that with a portion of that IBM parking lot where their septic system is limping along. And, we can make it work for everybody, mutually beneficial. Let's do a deal where, we put it there and, we build a parking garage, which will help the walkability and the vibrance of the common in general as a part of the master plan. And I just think that should be something that's taken into consideration, because what I've heard is that when that septic system was put in at the high school, Peter Casanari said that thing would never fail. Like, it was built like a steel ship.
I was in the building committee, I know what you're talking about.
So I just don't see the need to replace it. I mean, I know it costs money to maintain it,
Yeah.
but if you want the residents of this town to buy in to this whole idea, a big problem is getting the buy-in, is because they don't want to pay for it. And I know that only the user is going to pay for it, but if you're using it for the town buildings and you're using it for the schools, guess what?
We're the users.
Everybody's
Well,
paying
the
for it.
town is the biggest user.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's take that out of the equation for a second and see that now we're really only charging the users for it.
Excuse me, Kevin, you know what happened when they mentioned about the first time the sewage treatment? They told me that only those people they're gonna use is gonna be charged for. So in other words, if you have a septic system, you might have a pipe there for maybe 20 years from now.
And then when you want to
But-
connect.
Right, and you never have to pay a fee. But now they're talking about putting a pipe, whether you're gonna use it or not use it, everybody's gonna be charged. According to what I heard. Now, I like to emphasize, okay, when I have the chance to speak at the selectmen, I will say again, like I've been saying, they put me out of order too, over there, because I was trying to get something out of it, and they gave me the opportunity, that's why I'm running for selectman. I'll be elected, if I'm elected, I'm gonna have
The
excuse me.
statement just made by a member is totally out of order.
Excuse me.
He has
Excuse me.
indicated he's running for office in.
Everybody knows that I'm running, don't worry about it.
Yeah, you cannot talk about it.
I'm,
at this
okay, I'm not
meeting.
talking. So in other words is, I wanted to make sure that if you're not gonna use it, why should you pay for it? That's what I'm saying.
That's not a correct statement at all.
Yeah.
Listen, I understand it's going to benefit the public health of the town. It's going to take all the pollutants out of the groundwater that are going into the groundwater in the common
Right.
and then getting transferred across the town, probably
That'd be nice.
contributing to the PFAS issue
Right.
that we're having with our groundwater.
That's good.
I just think it needs to be approved, and I think the only way to get it approved is to eliminate the majority of the cost to the residents of the town. That's the answer to 99 out of 100 questions is money.
I agree with
And that is what has to happen, and I think
I agree
if
with
we
you.
made the effort to do a deal,
Yeah.
whether it's strong arm or whether it's amicable, I think something like that should be
Let's see what happens.
Well,
explored.
I'm probably wrong, but isn't there a trust that owns the IBM building? It's not
Yeah.
IBM that owns it, so,
Correct.
well, it might not be as easy. You can't just go to the front desk and say, hey, I want to talk to somebody.
No, that's what lawyers are for.
Yeah. So I don't know if you could use the
I-
IBM property, so,
No, you know what eminent domain is?
yeah.
Okay, okay. We should probably have a conversation off-site, because I can assure you, it's a separate conversation, and I think you'll quickly understand.
Okay,
All right.
so the gist of the, do we want to continue the common sewer conversation?
No, you
We'll
asked
have
me for a date.
questions to you by,
Let's put it this way, we already have a heavy workload getting ready for the March 4th thing. So by the next meeting after the March 4 meeting, how's that?
That would be the next week,
The following week, can
the
you?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
10th?
Do you have something to show us that might get some mental juices flowing about questions that we might have? Because, I mean, I could come up with a million questions, but they might already be answered in a pamphlet or paperwork somewhere.
That's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do is to establish a link between the Board of Health and, frankly, a new division of the Water Department that
Right.
says, this is just, to me, another way for us to work collaboratively,
You mean the LSD?
whatever you want to call it. Okay, I have no idea what they're planning. This all may be,
It's the sewer
Okay.
department.
Yeah.
Next on our list is town meeting. So that means that if we have any items that we want to put on for town meeting, it has
That's
to
what that
be
was,
by
yeah.
the 13th,
Of
Okay.
March,
March 13th.
and that needs to be finalized and written up and submitted by March 13th, which is the Friday after our next meeting.
Right. The thing that I'm thinking about is the wells.
Yep.
Should probably go on town meeting.
So we can ask that.
Agenda.
We can ask that. at the-
Yeah, once we have the meeting, once we
Wednesday.
have the meeting with the Water Department, we'll know what we should be doing, if
Yeah.
anything, about putting in a request for funds.
Yep.
I mean, is there any other ideas for town meeting?
Well, I mean, I think if we had some more information on the sewer project that's gonna be coming up at town meeting, maybe we could put some information.
Well,
That's probably on there.
If the meeting with the Water Department includes commentary from them about the sewer.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. yeah.
So maybe we'll just,
We may have a lot
have
of questions.
3 days
for
to
town
whip it up,
meeting.
right? Plenty of time.
Okay. So after, I'm sure we'll have some items to
And
discuss
anything that's left
after.
over after the meeting about the sewer, you can take off your question list, and I can
Right.
continue with the rest of them.
Okay, good.
Okay. All right, and then, last but not least, the landfill discussion.
How old is that landfill?
Oh,
How old?
30 years?
Since they
Capped
turned
it.
it from, I would say, let me see, I
They
came
capped it in
here
the 70s or-
39 years ago. I think it was 5 or 6 years after, and they did a nice job, I gotta say that. But you should see the way it was before, a lot of junk, and they used to put dirt on top of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the DEP says, we gotta clean it up. You know what I mean? That's the mistake that we made, the town made. Would it be much better if they took all the junk, little by little, out? The water will not be contaminated underneath.
You can't move it. You gotta burn
You mean
it.
take it out?
Well, there's a place where you can actually dump it.
There's no way you can dump it.
All
that
this,
stuff?
before, in the beginning, I'm talking about.
Oh, there was no rules? Yeah.
There was no rule before, yes. I say maybe 28 years. It's been like that. Obviously, they did a good job, and the question is, you
I
saw
think it's
them.
longer than that, because it's been like that since I moved here, and I moved here in '92.
92, well, there may be a couple more years before that, probably.
My
I'll
understanding is
find-
30 years, my understanding.
I'll find
At
out.
least.
I'll find out tomorrow. Very easy to find.
What's in there? Everything?
Everything. Dishwasher,
Jimmy
washing
Hoffa?
machine.
Jimmy Hoffa?
Just
Kitchen sink,
Huh?
the kitchen sink.
Well, as they say, probably the kitchen sink, a lot of stuff, I can't believe it. I was really uncomfortable to go dump stuff. I just get the bags and throw the bags out there.
So you just threw it in the hole?
That's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that what it was like?
Yeah. It's
That's
unbelievable.
so crazy to think
is-
I would have
about.
never, I should have took pictures. I should have done pictures. My father used to say, when you see something that's not comfortable, take pictures. That way you can relate the story.
Right.
You know what I mean? For right now,
I bet
can only
somebody's
give you an
got
idea,
pictures.
but it's a lot of
Somebody's
stuff. lot of
So
stuff.
it's the landfill that hasn't been monitored. correctly off.
My understanding.
Over 30 years.
I
It's
don't
not
think it's
been.
30 years.
Yeah, it's been
Um,
less than that, but
Jim Garefri told me that someone used to test it, and then that person either retired or
And then they
left
never
their
used-
job or
never
whatever.
used it again, yeah.
And so it kind of fell through the cracks
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
it stopped getting tested.
Yeah.
So the DEP realized that they weren't getting testing information from the landfill, and so it kind of has caught up. So we have to get back testing it.
so that's basically the action that we're taking, is to basically go back and start monitoring.
Right.
Right, and so the question about Spec Pond and the PFAS is like, is it coming from the landfill or?
It's all kind of intermingled.
Yeah, but let's not intermingle it, because I don't think it's from the landfill.
Well, you're right, the water's separate,
Yeah.
yeah.
So one comment, which is really interesting. So if we have PFAS in our water, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Are we moving on to comments?
For the landfill?
No, for members' comments,
Oh,
because
are we finished with the landfill?
I have no more.
Okay, moving on.
All right. I'd like to talk very briefly, because it is a public health issue, about COVID-19,
Mhm.
okay? So I asked the question, obviously, to let you know that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, from the Health and Human Services Department of Public Health, put out advisory dated the 24th. There's only been one reported case in all the state.
Where is that?
Huh?
Where?
They didn't give a location. They
Was
just
that
said
the student from Boston? Just came from China?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just,
Yep.
what I'm focusing on is today's announcement, which I think other people have heard already. The CDC has announced that it's very likely that we're going to have a hub out of which we're going to get many more cases. That they don't see how the U.S. can escape this. So they're asking people to take precautions. So I do know a mailing went to the schools and provided this very same set of instructions and suggestions, such as they are, that the CDC gives to everybody. So I'm just asking the question, does the Board of Health do we feel that we should be in any shape or form active, either in monitoring or informing folks who don't open their mail, who don't pay attention? The other group and I don't know how to handle this because they vary greatly in response. It's the elderly folks with diabetes.
Immunocompromised.
Yep, anyone who's even slightly immunocompromised is particularly susceptible to this one. And as far as I know, the most effective method of transmission is person to person. However, there is some belief in some quarters from data that maybe this virus lasts long enough so that you can pick it up.
Right.
So washing your hands, covering your face when you cough, if you're sick, stay away
Stay
from
home.
people. The chances are you're also not going to get flu if you follow the same thing, because these are also the methods for preventing flu. So I'm just asking, not trying to tell us what to do. Do we have any interest in what can we do that the state public health isn't doing locally? Are we satisfied that there are enough health facilities and professionals here? Should we collaborate with other towns? Should we get a case? I'm just walking through scenarios.
Mhm.
What would trigger us to do something? Are we the natural folks to initiate it?
Well, I think we talked to Jim
Jim
after the
Gareffi.
last meeting, the water department meeting, and he said that we really should be worried more about the flu is gonna be easier to catch. And like you said, the same precautions that you take to prevent the flu, you should be
Mhm.
taking to prevent that. So I think we'd probably have more of if we're gonna have a outbreak, you'd probably have flu first. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a health agent, but if you look, more people are getting the flu now, and more people die from the flu in the United States than we have from this.
Apparently
So-
Massachusetts is having a rough time with the food right now.
But we also have, don't we have like an emergency?
Yeah, remember
Call
Jim came and
that-
talked to
We have
us?
the whole plan,
There's a plan.
thick plan.
Yeah.
And
for a
what-
pandemic or an
Are you
emergency.
talking about like supplying masks and sanitizer and?
Masks don't
you know,
work
just
after
putting
half an
out-
hour.
Putting out a notice, I mean, how do you wanna relay that information to the public?
As
No,
far
he's
as
just
I can.
wondering if we need to.
I'm just
Well,
asking,
yeah,
do we
I
need to?
think we do.
I mean, is it appropriate for us to find yet another method for communicating with the public? That's
Yeah.
about what is being blasted over your newspaper, website, and all the rest, it's sort of.
But
Or should
just
we-
Is
to
okay
let
with
it
the
be known
Chinese
that it's, hey,
food.
it's here.
Sorry?
Just let it be known that, hey, it's here, be careful.
And you can eat Chinese food.
It's okay to still go
Okay.
to Chinese.
Oh, that's
shop.
another wild thing, yes, well.
Well, do we have anything on our website? I know
That was the other thing.
Jim Garepi, I think it's on their website, but I don't know if it's on our website, the town's
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, our website is, in my humble opinion, atrocious. It does not reflect, I think, the
You're
sentiment.
really nice.
What?
You're really nice.
What?
You're really nice. You're being really nice,
Really?
using that word.
He's being sarcastic.
No,
No, I'm
I'm
being-
not,
Oh, you're
actually.
not?
I think it's horrible.
Okay.
That's
All
what
right.
it is, sarcastic.
Yeah, you're being nice to him.
Yeah.
You're
No, the
being
website's-
sarcastic.
He's
No, the
being nice.
website, yeah, I'm being sarcastic. The
Yeah.
website's clunky and it's, 1975, whatever.
So, I have a feeling that we have at least maybe three word masters here, right? Any one of you three can write great prose that describe what our Board of Health really is interested in. Is that fair to say? I mean, I'd like to see our website change from what it currently reads. It's not representative of anything I've heard here.
It's gonna have to be dynamic and changing all the time.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to have somebody updating it all the time.
I just think if we just change the statement about
What our role is.
I mean, there are a lot of boards who don't have access, a lot of committees that don't have websites, and they're dying for them. We have one, okay, by right almost, and it's not we're not showing people what the sentiments or the outlook of this board really are. I mean, there's a real interest here in public health that's not reflected in that.
Well, that's why I made that comment about the Facebook page. I feel like, if that's in somebody's feed, when they check it, then, it's like a real-time update. It's easy for them. They don't have to go to it. They don't have to make the effort because it's gonna appear right in front of them. For me to go to the Littleton Board of Health, hey, what's going on with the Board of Health today? Who's gonna do that? No one wants to do that.
Yeah, but
But I agree.
not everybody's
Website
on
needs a-
Facebook.
Needs a refresher.
Not everybody's
Yeah.
on Facebook.
I agree with that. I haven't been to the website, but I think it's always good to have that updated with all that new information. We have West Nile in the summer, we have, tick-borne illnesses in the summer, and, the
Yeah.
flu, and, stay home, and corona now, so.
Oh, I wanted to make a comment.
If there was,
Something
if
that
there was
Jim
a
was,
staff member that could update, have that be part
Oh,
of
and I
their-
think we should be notified of anybody that contacts us through our website or contacts the board. I feel like we don't hear a lot of it, or any of it.
I've been contacted before, someone trying to reach me.
Right, no, but I mean, like, if they're trying to contact the board, like, it might just go to Jim. And I think we should know about that.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things that Janet handles on her own.
Yeah.
Just like day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean, or do you mean somebody having a problem with some of the decisions that we've made, or?
I don't know, I'd like to hear the public sentiment. I want to hear if somebody has a problem without, them just getting the template answer from whoever's answering the emails. May I make a comment?
Sure.
I had a friend who found a bat in their house in the morning, and so they have
This time of year?
small kids, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's questionable whether it had rabies or not. And so
Did he trap it?
trapped it, called animal control. They came out,
Really?
and then they mailed it to the testing facility, which could take like 5 to 7 days. Like, they could be foaming at the mouth by then. You know, like, can we make sure they have it couriered? Or like, get it done a little bit faster?
Overnight it?
Yeah,
Instead of
something.
mailing it?
Yeah, right? I would just find that frustrating. Just a comment.
Nobody got hurt, right?
They don't know. You can't feel it when they bite you. And the rabies shots are like $500, $600 a pop.
Yeah.
You got small kids, you gotta protect them.
Well, rabies shots aren't that covered under your
I think it's painful. No, you don't get rabies vaccines, but I think they're painful too, aren't they?
Probably.
Rabies
Yeah. I've never had.
Yeah. I hate bats.
But if we could just make sure that gets expedited.
Who sends that? Who?
Animal control.
The animal
Do they
control?
send, oh, they do?
It says Boxborough on their truck, but they serve Littleton too.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, because last year I went to that tick discussion, and they had that, you could send in your engorged tick to the lab, and within 72 hours, you would find out what kind of pathogens the tick was positive for.
Yeah.
That's quick turnaround.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
What did you say? To send it, is it by mail?
That's what they told me. They sent it by mail.
By, to who? Like
There's a lab somewhere in like Jamaica Plain or something.
Oh, send that.
I mean, I would just drive it, but.
And then, did they say how long it would take to get results?
A week or so?
Oh, to get the results.
Yeah.
So he's just saying
Yeah.
speed up the process by overnighting it, overnighting the specimen.
I'm sure there's $50 in the budget to courier it, you know? They got that new shiny pickup truck.
We all set?
Yeah. Any other comments?
I think anybody that's not ready to take action on this PFAS issue isn't doing their job. That's my comment. And I will vote to adjourn. Make a motion to adjourn.
Anybody second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.